I wish I was a man. Women often candidly mention this in conversations. Fortunately, many women in today's generation, just like mine way back, are also able to say, I'm a happy woman. When you're a child, you dream of many things, including what you want to be when you grow up. And my idea of what I wanted to be was never shaped or constrained by who I was, whether a girl or a boy. When I was a child, my family never discriminated between me and my brother. But when I entered corporate world, I started wishing I were a man. As a child, I had a dream of winning beauty pageant and earning that respectful crown, getting access to opportunities to make an impact on the society. When my dad taught me to ride a bike, I wanted to be a bullet rider and race those manly bikes in the lanes around my house. I grew up watching car rallies and I would wonder about racing there too, as I was fascinated with the fast wheels and swift moves the drivers reach their destination. But these were always men's races, and I would wonder if I would ever be able to do these manly, adventurous things at all. I still remember 27th July 2003, when I was too young and had dreams of my own to fulfill, not just one, but several. That was the day of my finale of a beauty pageant I had entered in the final year of graduation. The same 27th of July was also the day when my family and I had to watch my dad pour a bucket full of blood due to cancer as he took his last breath. Everything changed after that. About the next day, all I remember is weeping me who wanted to be the man of the family. That was how I entered the corporate world. Unprepared, helpless, but with the courage and support of my family. A new beginning in one of the leading publication houses of India. An epic entry to face it all. As I stepped in my career, I too had a dream to be that woman who can demonstrate strong leadership qualities just like men do. But why did I? A girl thinks like that? Because remember, I told you my family never discriminated between me and my brother. So let me share about interesting insight that Bandura's social learning theory talks about. Bandura's argued that individuals are more likely to adopt a particular behavior of someone whom you admire and are a part of the same culture. So a girl living in India would most likely get inspired or even imitate the role models she sees around her. Who? Mother, family, colleagues, and all those successful women who belong to India. From childhood itself, children learn gender roles from their parents and sociocultural environment. The needle can move both ways. These socially constructed gender roles can result in equal rights between genders, but can also lead to severe disadvantages and discrimination. So women on average in India are still known to be more disadvantaged economically, politically, and socially than women in other regions and countries. Deeply rooted societal norms have been dictating what behaviors are right for a particular gender in the society. Men are considered to be providers, and women are considered to be maintainers. Men are expected to bring bread home, and women are expected to cook that bread. पापा बहुत मेहनत करते हैं, मम्मी बहुत अच्छा खाना बनाती है. याद आया कुछ? These are the primary roles decided by the society on basis of gender to maintain the societal balance. This itself wasn't really the problem. So what was it? Problem comes when these gender roles create a power structure, patriarchy, based on dependence of one gender over another for economic participation and opportunity, educational attainment, health and survival, and political empowerment. This is exactly what the Global Gender Gap Index talks about. This is 2020s. We must have made a progress in closing the gaps by now, right? Any guesses? So what were the findings of 2021? The current trajectory states that it will take around 135 years to close the gender gap worldwide. Imagine 135 years to close the gender gap worldwide. Will this gap ever close? In political empowerment, it will take around 145 years. In economic participation and opportunity, it will take 267 years. 267 years. Reasons? The slow progress seen in closing the gap is a result of two opposing trends. On one hand, the proportion of women among skilled professionals continues to increase, as does the progress towards wage equality, but at a slower pace. On the other hand, overall disparities will still partly bridged, but there is a persistent lack of women in leadership positions. Additionally, the outbreak of pandemic has widened the gap. Due to increasing occupational gender segregation and severe underrepresentation of women, the pandemic unfortunately has actually set us back few years back. So LinkedIn data also further shows a marked decline of women's hiring into leadership positions, creating a reversal of 1 to 2 years. However, the last mile of progress will take another 14.2 years to completely close this gap, the last mile. So let's talk about equal pay, which is one of the major issues. Inequality in average wages between men and women persists in all countries and all sectors. Women's work is undervalued, and women tend to be concentrated in different jobs than men, where critical work is going unrewarded and unrecognized. Unrewarded and unrecognized. As per UN Women, the so-called motherhood penalty pushes women into informal economy, casual and part-time work, and tends to be larger in developing countries like us than the developed countries. Across the world, women still get paid 23% less than men. I still remember my juggle being a mother, being the women returner to continue my career, some hard truths that I faced it. Let's talk about India statistics. What does India say? India ranks 140th out of 156 countries, a drop of almost 28 ranks now. And it is the third worst performer in South Asia and ranks 6th out of the 8 countries with a gender gap of around 62.5%. Equal work predicts the work of equal value, isn't it? So in any organization, when there are employees at the same position doing the similar nature of work, irrespective of their gender, caste, creed, race, or religion, they are entitled to same remuneration. But here's my story. After coming back to India, my international experience and hardships were discounted. My additional efforts towards academics were ignored. My entrepreneurial journey was compromised. And yes, my motherhood and career restart was labeled larger than required. In short, I was treated like a beginner. All this played a very crucial role in my pay as well. So what people don't say is, salary kitni loge? Discuss kar le. Globally, the progress towards wage equality has stalled in the wake of global financial crisis. This means that although an additional 250 million women have entered the workforce, women are now only earning the amount what men did in 2006. Mine is the best example, trust me. So I say, I wish I was a man. Let's fast forward now. Let's look at the representation of women. The representation of women has improved, but progress has been uneven. Women are still increasingly burned out. This has resulted in downshifting of careers, exits or switching jobs from current companies. Remember, downshifting of careers. Sales target, managing household chores, young children, long hours. When I was working a sales role, Of course, we had targets to achieve, but I couldn't compromise my household worries targets. Trust me, a young child in my arms, feeding him during virtual meetings, that feeding target can never be more stressful than the numbers. All moms would agree to this. And it confounds me to ask why this situation should even arise. Usually, the women face certain challenges. Like every damn woman has a looking beautiful story. All the women in the auditorium should agree to this. Every damn woman has what will my male colleagues think story. Every woman has I have to go back home story. I'm not sure how many men actually think that, but all women definitely do think that. Every woman who becomes a mother has a you are a mom story. Working mom. There is no such term as a working father. Why? But why? Every woman has a promotion or a career success story. It wasn't her talent. Maybe it was something else. Kismat hai. Every woman has a grocery list story. Thanks to my husband who is managing the grocery every weekend, and that's why I don't have this story at all. There is no such ratio or a strategy to equally promote men and women at a particular grade in moving forward towards the career ladders. The number of women dropped out at such levels is very, very high. Asian women are less likely to receive positive feedback on their leadership capabilities. Of us feel that reviews and are provided on personality rather than performance and objectified to appearance. While with men, it is more evident to discuss about the business level of hierarchy. I'm sure many women in the audience who have worked would be nodding at this. I was told in my review, I need to talk to my colleagues more, have a cup of coffee, and collaborate more to let them be generous to give me more business. Business? I was capable enough to build my own. And that's why I wish I was a man, isn't it? And I would get a free coffee and bright conversations. Bar is always set very high when it comes to just getting recognition. Expectations are always high, including the level of multitasking. And when women stand up, when we stand up, it highlights microaggressions, wherein we are expected to look at the positive side, if not promoted or are unhappy with the company. More women in India are taking up leadership roles, but still, a place in the boardroom or the senior management committees, women are nearly absent. The latest report by Big Four Consulting states that women hold only up to 17% of the board seats in India. Mind it, 17% only. Even after being mandated by Companies Act to hold one women member on every board. One women member on every board, and we still are at 17%. ये सब दोगलापन है. अब हमें चाहिए full इज्जत. That is where we are establishing the break the bias and build a table concept. Education was the first step, but now the requirement is to look forward to women for active participation in the leadership roles for future. We need to look at more sustained progress for establishing equality. So what is it that we need to address? Self-doubt, whether I can do it or not. Self-rejection due to fear of pulling down or failure. Traditions and societal pressure that confirms the role of women. MCP-ness, men showcasing superiority and lack of acceptance towards women colleagues around. At least sometimes they do. So instead, every woman should remember these 3 R's. 1, realization. Realization, realize your worth and make a difference to another woman who is watching you. You need to create a chain of energy. Reinvention of your potential as an individual. Think about yourself at times. It helps. Reaffirming. Say those all the positive statements that will let you come up from the comfort zone, get into uncomfortable one, but you will have incredible achievements. And why should women come in front as leaders? Because women drive better outcomes. They are multi-talented. Their thought process is multidimensional. They are sensitive, but great team players and relationship managers. They have more leadership qualities. The necessity of age is emotional intelligence and relationship management, which has been true till date. And women do have these qualities when they take up the labeled man roles. Imagine if the roles are reversed, more women then men start leading the organizations. Things will become more progressive and realistic for women. The situation will become more conducive for progress. You might have fair packages, and you won't categorize them as a second income or the secondary income. Second income or the secondary income. Reduce comparisons and defining women roles. Consideration and preference to change internal policies to a balanced one. It will allow more women in the organization to come forward and accept dynamic challenges as a front runner. Companies have already started recognizing the efforts of employees and especially women. Until we see a greater sharing of roles and responsibilities at home, women on average will always be disadvantaged in the labor market relative to men. Equality between men and women in all aspects of life is fundamental to whether and how societies thrive. Aim to gender equality is an aim to making sense towards economic stability. So let's join hands together for a bigger change ahead. Let's create a chain of energy. Let women support more women at workplace. Also initiate name blind and recruit smarter initiatives, promoting more ethical leadership opportunities for women, de-gendering job ads, and allocating unbiased interview panels. Rethinking of childcare facilities and flexibility of work option. Persistent gender gap needs to be diluted faster. Diversity in senior management. Welcome back returners with a fair pay. More sponsorships for upskilling and career developments. Lastly, when I experienced being a Formula 4 driver, remember my childhood dream? Yes, I did fulfill that. But in my practice sessions, I was told machines don't know who the driver is. So you will have to race with the men. What we forget here is all those numbers, systems, machines don't know if you're a man or a woman operating and working on that task. But we as humans and as a nature tend to start categorizing and clustering the effectiveness and impact of opportunity before even handing it over to men or women. So we should definitely do the role reversal and have equal opportunity and equal pay. Lastly, women will lead like the movie King Richard. And Hollywood will also come up with a new movie titled Queen Williams. Thank you.